What if just one sentence, just a few well-placed words, could instantly change the way she sees you? What if attraction wasn't about looks or charm, but about saying something that reaches her on an emotional level she can't ignore? And what if, instead of chasing attention, you could speak in a way that naturally draws it to you? Imagine this for a moment. You're in the middle of a conversation, not trying to impress, not trying to win anyone over, just being present. And then you say one simple sentence. Suddenly, her expression shifts. She leans in slightly. A small smile forms on her lips. Why? Because something in your words made her feel seen, understood, and intrigued, all at once. This has nothing to do with how you look, what you wear, or what you do for a living. It's not about flash or flair. It's about depth. About speaking from a place that touches her emotionally, where most men never even try to go. And no, the sentences I'm about to reveal to you aren't pickup lines. They're not tricks, they're tools, grounded in psychology, emotional intelligence, and the timeless truths of human connection. When spoken with the right tone, at the right moment, they create something rare: curiosity, tension, magnetism. You don't have to chase anyone when you speak in a way that hits the emotional core. Because when a woman feels something, truly feels something, she won't forget it. She'll replay that moment. She'll associate you with a feeling she didn't expect but wants more of. Each of the 8 phrases I'm going to share with you is designed to plant a seed in her mind. Not a trick, not manipulation, but a message that lingers long after the conversation ends. Before we get to the first phrase, here's something powerful to remember. When you speak with this kind of clarity and presence, you become rare. And in today's world, rare is unforgettable. Now, let's explore the first phrase that subtly rewires how she sees you and leaves her wondering what it is about you that feels so different. You have a unique way about you. I like that. Now, most men try to get a woman's attention by complimenting her appearance. They say things like, "You're really pretty," or "You look stunning tonight." And yes, those compliments can feel nice for a moment, but they don't last. They don't echo, because women hear them all the time, from strangers on the street, from coworkers, even from guys they're not interested in. The truth? It's not that women dislike compliments, it's that most of them are hollow, surface level, rehearsed. There's no soul behind them. And that's why they don't stick. Because they don't touch something real. But then, out of nowhere, you say this line: "You have a unique way about you. I like that." And just like that, the energy shifts. It's different. It feels personal, specific, and yet mysterious. It doesn't try too hard. It lingers. It gets her thinking, wait, what does he mean by that? It opens a loop in her mind that doesn't close right away. And that open loop is where curiosity and connection begin to form. Because now she starts replaying the interaction in her mind. Was it something she said? The way she laughed? The passion in her voice when she talked about her favorite hobby? She doesn't know, but she wants to know. And that's the power of this sentence. You didn't just compliment her, you saw her. And even more interestingly, you didn't explain it. You let the mystery breathe. This phrase taps into something every woman longs for, but rarely experiences: emotional recognition. Not just attention, not just attraction, but a moment of being truly seen for who she is. Now, here's where it gets even better. It's not about saying this line to every woman. It's about the moment, the timing, the delivery. You use it when she shows you something real. Maybe she's telling a story about her childhood and lights up with nostalgia. Maybe she's passionately describing a side project she cares about. Maybe she makes a clever joke that most people would overlook, but you catch it. That's when you pause. Hold her gaze, not in a creepy way, but in a grounded, steady way, and say it slowly, with quiet appreciation. You have a unique way about you. I like that. Let the silence sit for a moment. Don't explain it, don't rush it, because the strength of this sentence lies in what you don't say. You're not trying to flatter, you're not trying to impress, you're simply noticing. And that's rare. because most women feel invisible in ways you wouldn't expect. They get noticed for their hair, their dress, their smile. But how often does someone notice their spark, their passion, their rhythm? When you say this phrase right, it lands in the center of her emotional world. And from that moment on, she starts associating you with something rare, being seen for who she really is. She'll want to open up more, share more stories, peel back the layers. Why? Because she finally feels like someone is paying attention to what actually matters. And here's the part no one talks about. That emotional imprint, it's more powerful than any smooth pickup line, expensive gift, or big gesture, because it touches the part of her that wants to feel known, not just admired. So yes, this phrase might seem simple, but when it's used in the right moment, with the right energy, it becomes unforgettable. Ready for the next one? Because phrase 2 doesn't just compliment her, it challenges her. And that's where things get even more interesting. I like women who know what they want. At first glance, it sounds like a simple compliment, but in reality, this sentence carries so much more. It's not just words, it's a standard, a filter, a mirror. Most men, when attracted to a woman, shift into performance mode without realizing it. They try to be agreeable. They say what they think she wants to hear. They nod too much, laugh too quickly, compliment too often. They want to be liked so badly that they forget who they are. And when that happens, something subtle but powerful takes place. She becomes the prize. He becomes the pursuer. He's auditioning. She's deciding. And without anyone saying a word, the energy flips, and not in a good way. But then there's you. You look her in the eye, calm and composed, and say, I like women who know what they want. And everything changes. You're no longer chasing. You're not trying to be chosen. You're simply stating your preference with clarity, with presence, with quiet strength. And that one sentence subtly shifts the question in her mind from, does he like me? To, do I meet his standard? That shift is magnetic, because now she starts wondering, am I coming across as confident? Do I seem grounded? Does he see me as the kind of woman who knows what she wants? It sparks introspection, and that introspection creates emotional investment. And here's the secret. This isn't about power games. It's about balance. It's about being the kind of man who doesn't need to be chosen, because he's too busy choosing with intention. Women are deeply drawn to clarity, not just verbal clarity, but clarity in energy, in values, in self-awareness. When you say, I like women who know what they want, you're not just talking about her. You're revealing something about yourself, about what you value. That self-possession is rare, and it's attractive. Now, timing is everything. Don't just drop this phrase randomly. Use it in a moment when she's showing decisiveness, when she confidently shares an opinion, takes the lead, or expresses her goals. For example, maybe she orders boldly at a restaurant, or maybe she tells you what she expects in a relationship. That's when you pause, look her in the eye with admiration, and say it, genuinely, without flattery. I like women who know what they want. Say it slowly, let it land, then stop. Don't explain, don't soften it. That pause, it says everything. It tells her that you're not trying to win her. You're observing her. You're evaluating, not auditioning. And that's incredibly powerful. And when she asks what type of woman you're into, don't dodge the question. Don't say, I don't really have a type. Instead, meet her gaze and say it with quiet certainty. I like women who know what they want. That answer does two things at once. It shows you're clear about what attracts you, and it creates a subtle challenge. Now she's asking herself, am I that kind of woman? But here's the catch. Once you say this, you have to live it. If she's flaky, unsure, or inconsistent, don't chase. Because if your actions contradict your words, the phrase loses all its weight. But if you stay centered, grounded, and aligned with your standard, she'll feel it. She'll recognize you're not just saying something to impress her. You mean it. And that's when something beautiful happens. She leans in. She listens differently. She starts investing, not because you asked her to, but because your energy pulled her in. That's the power of a quiet challenge. And now it's time for a phrase that does something even more personal. It reflects her. That's what I like most about you. It sounds simple, maybe even too simple, but when delivered with presence, this phrase is one of the most emotionally powerful things you can say to a woman. Why? Because it's not just a compliment, it's a mirror. And a mirror, when held up at the right moment, can reveal something beautiful that even she didn't fully notice about herself. Most women are used to being complimented on the obvious: her looks, her smile, her dress, her style. Those things are nice, but they're expected. They don't surprise. They don't stay. But this phrase, "That's what I like most about you," it shifts the focus completely. Because now you're not commenting on the surface. You're pointing to something within her, something she probably didn't realize you were paying attention to. Let's say she's talking about her career, not just what she does, but why she does it. Maybe her eyes light up when she speaks about helping others, or maybe there's a fire in her voice when she talks about her goals, or maybe she shares something vulnerable and you can feel the quiet strength under her words. That's when you look at her, slow everything down, and say with calm appreciation, That's what I like most about you." Then pause. No need to elaborate. Let your words land. That silence, it's where the magic happens. She feels the weight of your attention, the sincerity, and more importantly, she feels seen. Most men never go there. They never reach that emotional depth, but you do. And that one sentence becomes more than just a moment. It becomes a memory. A moment she'll replay in her head days later because it touched something few ever notice. And when a woman feels emotionally seen by a man, something shifts. She opens up more, she trusts more, she leans into the connection. And here's the beauty of it. This phrase works best when you use it sparingly. Don't throw it out too soon. Don't say it to everyone. Save it for when it matters, when you've noticed something that's truly hers. Not what everyone else sees, but what you saw. Maybe she helps someone quietly, not for praise. Maybe she listens with full presence when others speak. Maybe she laughs in a way that makes the room feel lighter. Whatever it is, name it. Reflect it back to her. Say it with stillness in your tone. Say it like a quiet truth you just discovered. That's what I like most about you. And suddenly, you're not just the guy in the room. You're the one who saw something real. And that kind of recognition, that's unforgettable. Because when you touch the part of her that others overlook, you don't just make her feel good. You change the way she sees herself in that moment. And that is the deepest kind of attraction. But we're not done yet. Because sometimes the most attractive thing a man can do isn't to compliment her at all. It's to subtly let her know she might not be ready for you. "I don't know if you can handle me." Now this one is bold. Not because you're raising your voice, not because you're flexing, but because you're planting a question in her mind and then walking away without answering it. You see, most men present themselves like an open book. They try to be easygoing, agreeable, available. They hope that by being low maintenance, they'll be liked. They say yes too quickly. They reveal too much too soon. They make it easy. But what happens when something's too easy? It stops being exciting. Attraction thrives on mystery, on a bit of friction, on challenge. And that's exactly what this line creates. When you say, "I don't know if you can handle me," you're flipping the energy of the conversation. She thought she was in control. She thought she was the bold one. She thought you were the one trying to keep up. But suddenly, the frame shifts. Now you're the wild card. Now she's the one leaning in, wondering, wait, what does he mean by that? Is it your ambition, your lifestyle, your standards, your emotional depth, your unpredictability? She doesn't know, but she wants to know. And that right there is the spark of curiosity that keeps you living in her mind long after the moment has passed. Let's picture the moment. She's teasing you, maybe challenging you playfully. She says something like, "I'm not easily impressed," or "I can handle anything." That's when you lean back, smile with just a flicker of intrigue in your eyes, and say, calmly, slowly, "I don't know if you can handle me." Then stop. Let the silence stretch just a little. Let her imagination fill in the blanks. And here's what makes this line magnetic. You're not being cocky. You're not trying to convince her you're special. You're just stating a possibility and letting her decide if she's up for it. But here's the golden rule. You have to back it up. You can't say, "I don't know if you can handle me," and then immediately turn into every other guy, over-explaining, over-chasing, seeking approval. That kills the mystery. That kills the power. This phrase only works when your energy matches the message. You say it because you genuinely live that way, because you know you're not for everyone, because you have layers, not walls, but depth. And depth requires discernment. That's what gives this line strength. It's not arrogance, it's awareness. It's quiet confidence. It's knowing your value doesn't come from being liked. It comes from being real. And if she is the kind of woman who's ready for a man like that, she'll step forward. She'll lean in. She'll start playing at a higher level. Why? Because now she's intrigued. Now she's wondering what's behind that smile, that stillness, that calm challenge. And suddenly, you're unforgettable. But sometimes you don't even need to hint at being difficult. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is to not give in too easily at all. "I'm not that easy." At first, it sounds playful, maybe even like a joke, but underneath the humor lies something much more powerful, a boundary, and not the harsh, defensive kind. It's subtle, calm, delivered with charm, but it sends a message that's impossible to ignore. You know your worth, and you don't give it away just because someone smiles at you. Most men fold too quickly. A woman shows a little attention, and suddenly they're doing backflips to keep her interested. They laugh at everything, compliment too fast, start chasing hard before anything meaningful even begins. They lose the frame. But when you say with quiet confidence, "I'm not that easy," you flip that frame on its head. Now she's not just the one being pursued. She's realizing that you too are someone who requires effort, someone who can't be swayed just by a pretty face or a flirtatious move. Let's set the scene. She's teasing you, maybe playfully flirting, trying to see how quickly you'll bite. Or maybe she assumes, like most men, you'll melt the moment she leans in. That's when you smile, just slightly, and say it. "I'm not that easy." Then let it sit. No nervous laughter, no need to explain yourself, because what you've done in that one sentence is reset the dynamic. You've reminded her that your attention has value, that your time, energy, and presence aren't just handed out, they're earned. And that's incredibly attractive to the kind of woman who's worth your time. Why? Because this phrase taps into something powerful, selectiveness. You're not closing the door, you're not playing hard to get. You're simply letting her know that you're not available to just anyone. And that's rare. Here's what happens next. Her mind starts spinning. Wait, is he serious? Is he joking? Why did that sound so confident? What does it mean that he's not easy? And in that moment, she's no longer leading the interaction. She's reacting to it. She's emotionally engaged. And here's the deeper truth. When you say, "I'm not that easy," you're not pretending. You're living in alignment with your values. You're not just there to be liked. You're there to connect deeply, genuinely, and with someone who respects your presence. And you're willing to wait for that, even if it means walking away from a situation that's shallow or inauthentic. That calm self-control, that energy of "I'm good with or without your attention," that's what makes her lean in. and want to earn your focus. Because here's the thing, being easy isn't the flex, being grounded is. And when you communicate that with a smile, a bit of charm, and absolute self-respect, you stand out in ways most men never will. Now, up until this point, we focused on phrases that challenge, reflect, and reset expectations. But what if you could say something that not only shows strength, but also subtly reveals your own emotional depth? That's where we're going next. I don't chase, I choose. Say that out loud, slowly, not with ego, not with arrogance, but with calm, grounded clarity. This one sentence carries a quiet force. It's not loud, but it shifts the entire energy of the conversation because it tells her something few men ever communicate. You're not looking for attention, you're looking for alignment. Let's face it, most guys chase. They see a woman they're attracted to and their instincts kick in. They pursue, they try to impress. They overextend themselves before they even know who she truly is. And in doing so, they give away their power. Their energy starts saying, please pick me. But when you say, I don't chase, I choose, you're drawing a clear line in the sand. You're not pursuing her to prove anything. You're observing, you're deciding. It changes the entire frame from, am I good enough for her? To, is she aligned with what I value? That shift isn't about playing games. It's about coming from a place of emotional maturity. Because when you choose, you're not just reacting to beauty or charm. You're choosing based on values, connection, energy. You're showing that your attention has direction, and it's not thrown around carelessly. Picture this moment. Maybe she asks, why haven't you made a move yet? Or maybe she playfully says, you're not like the other guys. That's your moment. You smile gently and say, I don't chase, I choose. Then pause, let her feel it. It doesn't need an explanation because the message is already clear. You are the chooser, not the beggar, not the follower, not the desperate man seeking approval. And here's the beautiful part. This phrase isn't defensive. It's not about closing off or building walls. It's about inviting the right connection while filtering out the wrong ones. It shows restraint, discernment, power. Because truthfully, the man who doesn't chase has options. The man who chooses knows his worth. And women can sense that. Not just in your words, but in the way you hold yourself. In the way you listen without needing to dominate the space. In the way you stay still while others scramble for attention. This phrase reveals a deeper layer of who you are. It tells her, I'm not afraid to walk away from what's not aligned. But if I choose you, it's because I see something real. That kind of energy creates gravity. Now she's not just curious about you, she's drawn in by your depth. But we're not done yet. There's one final phrase, one that gently disarms her, lowers her guard, and creates a safe space where real connection can happen. You don't have to impress me. It's gentle, unassuming. But make no mistake, this line carries deep emotional weight. Because in a world where so many people feel they have to perform to be accepted, this sentence does something radical. It invites someone to be real. Most women are used to being judged, even if it's subtle. They walk into conversations expecting to be measured, based on looks, personality, opinions, or status. They've heard the fake compliments. They've seen the rehearsed reactions. And deep down, many of them are tired of playing a part just to be liked. But when you look her in the eye, calm and sincere, and say, you don't have to impress me, it disarms everything. No more pressure, no more proving, no more pretending. It's not just comforting, it's liberating. Suddenly, she doesn't have to put on a mask. She doesn't need to be perfect. She doesn't need to wonder, is he judging me right now? Because you just gave her something very few men ever do, emotional safety. And here's the beautiful paradox. The moment you say, you don't have to impress me, she actually starts wanting to. Not out of pressure, but out of freedom. Because now she feels like she can show you her true self. And once someone feels safe enough to be real with you, you unlock a deeper kind of connection, one that can't be faked or forced. Let's say she's nervously sharing something personal, or maybe she's trying too hard to be funny or likable. That's your moment. You smile gently, keep your tone grounded, and say, "You don't have to impress me." Then let the space breathe. You don't need to follow it up with anything, because the silence after that line is what lets her feel the truth of it. This phrase works because it shifts the interaction from performance to presence, from "how do I look to him" to "I can just be." It tells her that you're not there for the act, you're there for the essence. And women remember the men who see through the performance, not because they're trying to fix or critique, but because they offer a rare kind of acceptance. That's where emotional intimacy begins. Now, pause for a second. Let's reflect on everything you've just learned. These 8 phrases, they're not magic tricks. They're not about control or manipulation. They're about understanding human connection at a deeper level. They're about knowing your worth, and about giving her the space to reveal hers on her own terms. When you use these lines, not with performance, but with presence, everything changes. Conversations become more meaningful. Attraction becomes effortless. And you're no longer just another guy in the crowd. You become the one who makes her feel something she can't quite explain, but doesn't want to let go of. So remember this. Real attraction is never about volume. It's about vibe. And the right words, spoken from a grounded, centered place, can echo in someone's heart long after you've left the room. If this resonated with you, support the mission. Subscribe. Share this with someone who needs it. Because the world needs more men who don't chase. They choose. They see. They lead. With stillness, not noise. Thanks for being one of them. Until next time, stay grounded, stay intentional, and speak with power.